nature, things of that 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 nature.
Welcome into the Pod of That Nature Transfer Portal edition. Once again, going live here on a Saturday morning. John Nabors alongside Curtis Wilkerson. And Curtis, I know you and Andrew already have popped off here this morning, but yet we're just going to have to do a rotation, I guess, today as another pop off for Arkansas in the transfer portal. They are able to land a transfer safety, which last time I checked, they needed a few of those. Quentavius Scandrett, one of the best names you'll ever see, 6'3", 200 pounds out of Eastern Michigan. A guy that was in the mix a litil bit, but looks like he's officially calling the Hogs, according to the Arkansas Razorback social media.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of news this morning. Honestly, Arkansas's had a handful of guys in the secondary over the course of this week. I know Jordan Young from Cincinnati was one, and then Scandrett it was announced that he was visiting and everything, but it kind of flew under the radar. I think people probably see the name and they see Eastern Michigan, whatever. This dude is good. Okay. So like for the people that were griping at us about a half hour ago saying, how come, so many of these guys, you're just like, oh, this isn't going to be a needle mover or this is the depth piece or whatever. I think this dude is a potential starter. I really do. Scandrett's nice. This year at Eastern Michigan, he had 55 tackles, an interception, and 3 pass breakups. I know you said he was all preseason all MAC. Is that what it was?
Preseason. Yeah. Athlon Sports preseason all MAC first team defense.
Hey, there you go. But, I like the size there at 6'3", 200 pounds. Like Arkansas's in a situation where they're replacing a lot of guys there on the back end. They've got a little bit coming back at safety, like Larry Worth should be back around. Miguel Mitchell, who came on late. I know that they're excited about what he could be, but you definitely needed some more pieces back there. And I think Scandrett is a pretty good one for Arkansas. And this is interesting. I'm already seeing some of it come up in the chat. Like, you're going to have a bit of bad news with your good news this morning. I understand that. But let's talk about the win for the Razorbacks first, because man, the pass defense for Arkansas last season, the secondary as a whole, boy, it just wasn't good. I mean, they ranked near the bottom of the SEC in passing defense, passing yards allowed per game. And then the secondary really had a hard time tackling. I mean, they did. That's where a lot of their issues were. So, they went out and got the junior college corner. They went and got the kid from Oklahoma who started a bunch of games. I think, and maybe this is a hot take, John, I don't know, but I think Quentavius Scandrett is going to be, or is so far, the best addition that they've made to the secondary. I think this is a good one. I really do.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say the same thing. I mean, that's the type of thing that when, you have all these needs and of course that you're wanting to get the best players. But to me, especially at the safety position, like we've seen Arkansas when they've had a bad safety and bad safety play and the type of impact that it can have on your defense where I guess it was 2022, they had the worst pass defense in the entire country. And not to say that they were, great all around, but people forget you had Dwight McGlothern at the cornerback spot, who was a really good cornerback. So it wasn't like it was him, but the safeties can really make or break you. And that's where, when I saw that this was a get for Arkansas, I was pretty excited about it too, because it's not that you have to, you want to have a great safety play, all-American, high-end, first-round picks in the NFL draft type of safeties. But more importantly, you just have to have solid safety play. Because if you have solid safety play, you don't have to sit there and wonder why is this defense so bad? Why is the secondary getting cooked? Why are the big plays happening? That's why they're called safeties. They're over there to keep from all the big plays happening, the big plays going over the top. And so just to get somebody who obviously has experience, who obviously has some talent, even if it was at Eastern Michigan or whatever, to get somebody that's going to be able to prevent you from having that, because you still have some good pieces you're trying to get there in the secondary. That to me is extremely important, to where you got better in the big play defense right now. We'll see what other pieces that they add. But no, I'm with you. I really like the addition. I like the addition when it started getting talked about. And I think it's going to be fun to see what kind of role he can play immediately in this team. And also being from Georgia. So apparently there's a lot of connections that he had with Travis Williams and some of the guys over there from the area that he's from in Georgia. So, yeah, I love this kid. I think it's a great one.
Yeah. And you never know until you know with how it's going to translate from, a smaller school to the SEC. But I'm with you. I think it's a good one now for me in the secondary. And I'm a little bit greedy because, like we said, I view Arkansas in the transfer portal here, I'm not viewing it from a lens of can you just replace what you've lost. I want to see Arkansas upgrade on that, because just replacing what you lost gets you to 6-6 again. Nobody wants to see that, man. So, hey, it's a deal where they need to improve on some certain positions here. I think they still need to go out and get another corner who maybe qualifies as a starting caliber corner for them. I think they need to go out and get another safety. And if they do that, then it start to feel better about where you're at in terms of the secondary that really struggled for you. Just looking at the game logs here for them, I'm trying to see if they played any big time programs. Like Washington was really the only game of super note on the road there. He had 3 tackles in that game. So whatever, kind of is what it is. I will say this: Quentavius Scandrett that's on the Key and Peele like all name team, man. I mean, that's going to be a good one. I can't wait to say it. First of all,
well, I can tell you this. I was looking at his bio. His family's names are listed. His full name is Quentavius Deshaun Scandrett. He's father of Sky Scandrett. So he does have a child named Sky. He's son of Vincent and Antoinette Scandrett, and he has 2 brothers, Dontrez and Tramius.
Oh my God.
I mean, you're talking about great names there in the family. So yeah, I'm excited just to hear Chuck Barrett and everybody try to say his name on big plays. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I've got his PFF grades pulled up here, and I always give the qualifier. I get it. It's not the end all be all, but it's just another way to kind of to measure and evaluate what these guys do by the numbers. And, if you hate PFF, then you don't want to hear this, because he was actually pretty good from that standpoint. His defensive grade, 72.9. It's 258th out of 916 safeties. That's a lot of folks. But 72.9, that's good. I mean, that's in the green. That's above average. Pass rush grade, only 63.6, whatever. I don't care how much he does that. His coverage grade, that's what Arkansas needs. Coverage. Guys who can stop folks from catching the football. 77.7, man. That's really good. 144th out of 850 qualifying safeties there. So some pretty nice numbers there for Mr. Scandrett. And listen, we're seeing this. It's just going to be one of those weird days. I don't necessarily think that Arkansas is done today, but we're already, it's 10 o'clock in the morning here in Fayetteville, and it's just this roller coaster ride of, hey, they got this guy. Oh, they didn't get that guy. Oh, they got this guy. Oh, they missed on that guy. There's going to be some of that. And, the running back edition looms a little bit larger now, I guess, but this one, regardless of who you get or don't get, this is a good one for Arkansas. I really think so.
Yeah. And, speaking of the ones that they kind of missed on, of course, people are talking about Ismail, the running back, going to Arizona, but even the defensive lineman going from Georgia going to USC was also a really big miss. In fact, it's everybody can have their thoughts on all that, but I'm sorry. When I saw that D lineman, I don't know how good he was, but seeing a guy that's 6'5", 350 pounds and playing in Georgia, it's kind of somebody I would have liked to have had on this defensive line. So yeah, like you said, you're going to have to mix some of the positives with the additions of that with some misses, because there's probably going to be some more of those too. But yeah, I'm with you. If this morning has been any sort of indication, this Saturday is going to be college football playoff going on. You got Razorback basketball going on, but you're going to have a ton of portal craziness and chaos happening for Arkansas today too. Yeah,
no doubt about it. I text you guys in the group, and I kind of already made up my mind, and I don't like not being at Bud Walton Arena for games, but there's just too much going on, man. It's crazy. And so it's kind of an all hands on deck approach there. So I'm going to be locked in the war room here all day, just kind of waiting to see what's going on for sure. But no, this is good stuff. This is a good addition. We talk about needle movers a lot. I think it's kind of become just that phrase that's maybe attached to my name and Andrew's name, because I know we say it a ton. This one does move the needle for me. So I think about this one, the 2 offensive linemen in Corey Robinson and Kittler. Those are really good additions for Arkansas. Like, that's going out and getting guys who come in and play for you and be some good contributors for you. And, outside of that, maybe some guys hit, maybe they don't, they got some talented players or whatever. There's a mixture of like, we just don't know yet versus, guys who are probably going to be depth pieces. But this is a nice addition here. And yeah, we can talk about it real quick. Yesterday, John, we went live about David Oak from Abilene Christian. Hey, it's just a fine, nice little pickup on the defensive line. An FCS guy who put up big numbers. We kind of talked about maybe he could be the Terry Hampton, of this football team next year, which is you need guys like that. But what do we say? Hey, you need to get the dude from Georgia too. Like, why not both? That's just kind of where Arkansas is at with defensive line depth. They miss on him. He goes to USC. If anybody's saying that Arkansas chose David Oak over Jamal Jarrett, you're going to have a hard time convincing me of that. They needed both. I don't know if they could afford both. I don't know what USC's bag look like. I'm sure it's an attractive school out there or whatever, but I consider that a miss for Arkansas, no doubt about it. But the Ismail Mahadi, who, as we were getting ready to go here, popped for Arizona over Arkansas, the running back out of Texas State. That's brutal, in my opinion, because this has been the number one guy, that Arkansas has been attached to in the running back room. He visited. We knew that a commitment was coming this weekend, and we hadn't really heard. Maybe I didn't do enough research, John. We hadn't really heard about him being connected to anyone else. I felt really good about Arkansas's chances, and we did the thing again. I'm so glad that Andrew brought it up because, it's Mike Washington. Hey, a nice back in a platoon situation. He's not going to be your number one guy. So if you get him hotty, you feel good about it. But how many times now have we seen like Arkansas takes Raylan Sharp and we're saying, oh, well, they'll still get DT Sheffield or Kendrick Law or whatever. No, didn't happen. And then you hear the Crutchfield news and Law winds up going to Kentucky. Now you hear the David Oak news, and then you got Jamal Jarrett going to Georgia. And then you hear, like it's just one thing after another. You get this running back Washington. Oh, this will be a great 1-2 punch with Mahadi. Nope, he's out of here. They still got a lot of work that they got to do to get this thing right. So some nice pieces added, some misses piling up a little bit. That's just kind of what it's going to be in the portal, and we'll see where they pivot from here.
Yeah, because like with the Georgia defensive linemen, I'm not saying that it's fine, but still, losing a guy from Georgia going to USC, just it kind of lands the blow a little bit easier on Razorback fans when you lose a player like that, because it's like, okay, USC, all that. But there is something to be said when you lose that running back that everybody wanted and everybody was targeting, and you lose him to Arizona. And then it becomes the question of, okay, was it simply that Arizona gave him a bigger bag? Was it just more NIL? Was that what happened? And if that's the case, who knows? Maybe that was something that Arizona overpaid for on him, and Arkansas was like, we're not paying that much on him. And then he goes. It could be something like that, but it's just the perception of it and the look of it through the lens. It just doesn't feel good or look good. We're like, hey, we want everybody at Arkansas, including coaches, players, everybody wanted this guy, and you lose him to Arizona, and it's at a position of need. Yeah, that's not really a good look. But it's going to come down to continuing to build the depth. We all know that, and do it in different positions. But you still got time. Like, you still going to have. Because who knows, maybe there's going to be some player that's not on anyone's radar right now, and then boom, suddenly it pops and you're like, oh, I have no idea who that is. I got to look that up, and ends up being a pretty decent player. Like, that could happen. Not saying it will, but it could happen. So who knows what the rest of the day, what the rest of the week will hold. But man, this is I don't know why Saturday chose to be the day of chaos so far, but it's like, could we not spread this out a little bit? But it looks like, yeah, Arkansas still got a lot of work to do and trying to get, and also missing on guys like that when you bring up the players they got instead of these other players. That's the ones where it's just another frustrating part of it where, like you said, why not both? That needs to be the thing. Why not both? Why not get both of them? You'd feel so much better. It's something about when Arkansas is targeting a player and you get that player you're targeting. Not like, oh, we got to get this guy instead because the other guy we targeted was going away. There's just something nice also about, hey, we want this guy. Everyone knows we want this guy, and we got this guy, and you just haven't had enough of those just yet. But it could happen though here in the next few days.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And just I know a lot of what was coming through in the chat was about the DT and the running back, and so we've talked about most of that. I did want to pull this up real quick from Matt Kane Cooper. He says, unfortunately, some Arkansas fans are not happy with us recruiting a MAC conference team roster. Yeah, I mean, are they really doing that? And I've said it a bunch, but I'll run it back one more time here. I just think there's three ways you tackle the portal, especially if you're Arkansas and you got to get more than 24 guys. Like you have to go out and get players like this who just had a high level of production at a group of 5 school and bring them in and hope that it translates over. Like everybody goes and gets guys like that. That's just not just exclusive to Arkansas. You get guys who were maybe really, really talented, really highly coveted recruits that maybe they were buried on a depth chart, or maybe it didn't pop for them early and they need to change of scenery. And you hope that it connects and translates for them at Arkansas. We're talking about guys like Jaden Platt and Jaquan McCroy, Crutchfield, if they wind up bringing him in at receiver, guys like that. And then you do need to go out and get, the dudes, like the guys that you maybe overpay for a little bit, who've done it at the power conference level. I think Corey Robinson fits into that mold for Arkansas right now. Probably need more of them, but I get what you're saying. But what I will point out about this kid, Quentavius Scandrett out in the MAC, he's pretty good. I mean, I look at the transfer portal rankings over at On3, their industry ranking. So it just kind of takes into account everybody's rankings of him. 233rd. So he's top 250 out of the portal. And you might look at that and go, okay, cool. What does that mean? Well, there's like 6,000 plus people in the portal. So he's up there in terms of that list. And I think I think this is a sneaky good get for Arkansas. I do. So I understand what you're saying. You would love to see them, adding, you see Ole Miss adding another, SEC transfer every day. And when you compare to your peers, it's easy to be like, man, like why can't Arkansas do this? What's going on? But, there's still probably 16, 17 more guys that they're going to have to add. And, if they get through that and it's all a bunch of MAC guys, then maybe we can have that conversation. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at not only just this year for, seeing your peers get a bunch of other SEC transfers, but just in previous years at Arkansas, like, last year you got some guys from different schools and even from some high caliber schools. And the year before you got more, and the year before you got more. So it's like you've even had times and years where you've gotten other transfers from the SEC here at Arkansas. That's just not going to happen this year. You're not going to, unless something crazy happens, you're not going to get a single transfer from the transfer portal from an SEC school, or in some cases, even from like some Power 4 schools. The majority of this is going to be that because of how many players you need. And I think that you can find great players at small schools. It can happen. It's just for Arkansas, they have to make sure they hit on every single one of these players. They have to make sure that they do it.
Yeah.
Because if they end up with just nothing but a bunch of players that from the MAC conference or whatever that are average at best, that's not going to fly in the SEC. And it's going to be very apparent and very evident in the early going. So, yeah, they got to make sure that they hit on these talent evaluations that they have of guys from smaller conferences and from smaller teams.
For sure. And I do want to point out, like Matt King Cooper, that comment just then, I realized what you weren't saying that you weren't dissatisfied. I understand that. You're saying like some folks are, Arkansas fans are pissed about that. I see what you're saying. All right. So I wasn't putting that on you, but just talking in general. And then maybe real quick here, we could just hit on this from Floyd. He says, what areas do we still need help in? All of them. Right. Yes. But no, and I can run through it real quick. Offensive line, looking for one more. I think an interior offensive lineman. Quarterback, you're probably set. Running back, you need another one, and probably an RB1. Wide receiver, you need 2 minimum starting wide receivers. Tight end, you need another one, at least one, who can catch the football or has a track record of doing so. Defensive line, you need at least one more defensive tackle who's starting caliber. I think you need multiple edge rushers. I know you went and got one, but you need one who's like, you're going to have to spend and get one who's done it at a high level, and you probably need more depth there. I know they got a Florida kid on campus. Linebacker, you have a choice to make there, I guess, because you do have Sori and Dix coming back. You like Bradley Shaw. You got Tavion Wallace coming in. Do you want one more experienced body to add depth? Maybe so, but not a high priority. And in the secondary, I think you need at least one more big-time, safety addition, and I think you need a starting corner. So, like, you got a lot to do there. And I would go get a kicker if I was you. So, I mean, it's just kind of where I'm at. Holes to fill across the board, still a long way to go.
Yep. In fact, it's weird that the only position group that you don't need really any, or at least it's not as much of an urgency as linebacker, where a year ago you needed every linebacker ever existed. And that was like the one position you needed help in. So, yeah, they need basically, if any position player pops today or whatever, it's a need, and they needed to fill it. Like, no matter what it is, it's something that they needed to have.
No doubt, man. No doubt about it. Okay. Anything else we want to hit on? I feel like we're going to be back.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's almost like we could sit here and talk all day about other things too, but it's probably going to be something we discuss here very shortly. So, But yeah, be sure to like the channel, like the channel here at Inside Arkansas, and be sure to follow us along on social media at Inside Arkansas. Check out our website, insidearkansas.com. And again, hit that bell up in the notification box for YouTube, because anytime we pop, you're going to see it on your phone and you can hop in and join us. So for Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Nabors. Same sports show, same sports channel whenever the next pop happens. Have a great rest of your afternoon, everybody. We'll